move on to our next question. And so essentially, I think our viewers would like to know a little bit about what Servant Partners is about. And just if you can just give a brief introduction to what the ministry is, and also then, how is Servant Partners being involved and engaged in mission during this pandemic?
Yeah. Yeah, it's my pleasure to share a little bit about Servant Partners. So we are a movement of people that have responded to God's call to love the poor by living and by walking alongside our neighbors who live in urban poor neighborhoods all across North America, as well as in slum communities all over the world. And so we have 6 core values, and those are servanthood, transformation. I was just saying to Ryan how I always miss one, but it's making disciples, it's justice, it's incarnation. See, I always miss one, but joy in
Right.
God.
Joy in God.
That's the one, and that's the one I never miss usually because I start with it, but I decided not to start with it today because out of their 6 core values, there's one that I would say is the one that rules them all, which is joy in God. That God actually calls us into a life of of joy and of experiencing His presence when we pursue the things that are near to His heart. And so we do that by loving the people that God loves, and He has a special place, a preferential option, some would say, for the poor. And when we plug ourselves into our cities and we take a good look around, and then we realize, wow, there are areas that are hurting, and those are the people whose God's heart is reaching out to. And so we long to see the kind of transformation of His kingdom establishing in those places. And so we have these things. We have 9 signs of what a transforming community is like. And one of them, it would be Jesus communities. So we do evangelism work, we do discipleship work, we plant churches, and we believe that God is at the core of the transformation that occurs in people's lives, and allows other areas to also transform. So be it in their health or in their experience of civic participation and just kind of being empowered to utilize their voices, their gifts, in all aspects of their lives. In the downtown east side, we have worked with families, so whole families. That's really important to us, and to see economic development happen. So we've piloted this opportunity called the Strathcona Artisan Market for our urban poor neighbors to express themselves creatively, but also to provide supplemental income for their families and themselves. And yeah, just kind of, we also pursue systemic changes that we long to see the welfare of our friends, of our neighbors improve. And so we do all of that work, though, alongside leaders that are from this neighborhood. So not just people like me or Ryan or relocators, but what we call indigenous leaders. So we want to see the kind of change that would happen even if we're not here anymore. So we pour into discipleship and in ways that would allow for community, like grassroots community organizing to happen, and see those changes kind of longer lasting, that would last past us, that we would work ourselves out of a job, really is our hope. So that's for here in the downtown east side, but that's also true for many, many places all over the world. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then how are you guys being engaged in mission right now with the physical distancing measures? How are you going about serving the families in the downtown east side?
Yeah, it's been a time of transitions for sure. Everyone has had to reimagine what ministry, what missions looks like during this time, during this season, with social distancing, with the need to practice safe communal and personal hygiene. so that not more harm is done in
Mhm.
our neighborhood, knowing that a lot of our friends in the downtown east side have compromised immune systems and are very vulnerable to
Mhm.
getting sick. So we've been taking the time to rethink, regroup, and to listen again. So even projects with families, for example, we can't gather like we used to, and we used to have a girls group that gathered girls that are from the social housing complexes here in the downtown east side, a particularly vulnerable age group that is kind of like preteen,
Mhm.
teenage years. So, for example, for the girls group, they've had to reconsider. And so there's meeting up with girls one on one to do some discipleship. But yeah, what would it look like in the future if they can't gather and form their own identity as a girls group?
Mhm.
So it's still in flux and we're still praying about it. We're still, yeah, trying to practice wisdom in how we go about ministry. We meet with, there's a group that we have for Syrian refugee women,
Mm.
and it used to be an English conversation group, but right now it's more of we're just checking on what their needs of the families are, more of a one-on-one outreach kind of way. And there's still, again, similarly needs to be some rethinking, right? And then for projects like the artisan market, which used to be like a festival in the summer, and we're not going to be doing that this year.
Oh no.
But I think it's an opportunity, right? So thinking about like, okay, well, if we can't organize this festival, but how can we be still providing like different ways of empowering the vendors? And
Right.
so would it be through pairing them up with mentors and kind of growing their business projects or their ideas, and so that they're more ready to face a new reality, right? A new normal. So would that be through imagining an online platform of sorts so that people can still sell their products, maybe in a safer social distance kind of way? These are all things that we are currently in the process of thinking of. So those are all more the project side, but in our empowering local leaders side, we've been um, really trying to work with neighbors that are doing uh, work like exposing the inherent vulnerabilities of our neighborhood
Mm.
around
Mhm.
housing, for example,
Right.
petitioning for the city, for the province to be providing safe places for people to be rather than just what we've seen now, which is a more crowded street because of people being kicked out of SROs. It's like single room occupancies, different ways that our neighborhood has been impacted. We've seen a lot of like an uptick in just chaos, and so we have friends who live in that chaos and who want to see change and want to see the government act. And so there's part of our work is to help people navigate how to make their voices heard. And we want to see more of our neighbors' voices heard, not just our voices. And another really kind of pressing issue that we've kind of tried to also be involved in is in the context of food security in our neighborhood,
Mhm.
and seeing the need for the government and other of our organizations that have been providing um, for like food security or other services, to organize whatever resources we currently have in having a more integrated response to the food security issue. And so we've participated in those conversations inter-organizationally, and trying to bridge some of the resources that we know that the local church has in the downtown east side in that coordinated effort. And so um, we have different organizations that we've partnered with and we're friends with, or so like for example Jacob's Well, who is they have a space here, or Street Church, which is run by our friend Randy Barnettson. Different spaces that have provided kind of food in a way but have had to shut down, or
Mhm.
in the transition of COVID had to reconsider how they are providing service to link them up with the other organizers in our community that are not not Christian in nature, but are responding to this very real need of the poor in our neighborhood. And so we've been kind of the bridge sometimes, or we've been trying to bridge different voices in our community to work together in providing a more holistic approach to responding to these needs that are real for a lot of people in our neighborhood. We are
Wow.
not
Oh,
ourselves providers, but we're trying to coordinate and organize, and that's kind of the work of grassroots um, organizing.
wow. Well, folks, there you've heard it. I just want to share with you guys this screen here of Servant Partners. If you want to learn more about the ministry and what they're involved in, um, you can go to their homepage at servantpartners.org, and you can read all about it, or you can read all about it and see how you can be involved in as well in this ministry, as you've heard it being spoken so passionately by Ricki. And so we're just going to end right now and carry on. Oops, what am I doing? Okay, I'm just going to stop the share for now.